These are the 5 things that have completely changed how I shop and cook for my home. If you feel like you're doing everything right at the grocery store, you're planning meals, you are checking sales, and you still feel like you're going over budget, you are not alone. Many years ago, when I was a young mom, our family went through a financial crisis as we went through some major medical expenses. During those years of struggle, I learned so much about having food security in our home and sticking to a grocery budget. Now my kids are grown and flown and living in their own homes, and it's just my husband and I here. But we still use those simple techniques that we started using over 20 years ago. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross, and this is Across Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. We base our grocery budget per person of how many people we have living in the house at the time. So our family size has varied over the years as our kids have grown up and went on to college, and we were also foster parents and had our grandmother living with us. So we have varied in size from 8 all the way down to 2 for the last 2 years. It's just been my husband and I. With that grocery budget of $135 per person, that was a total of $270 per month. We're able to have all the groceries here at the house that we need. We post all of our grocery hauls here on the channel so you can see how I go grocery shopping once a month, and I'm able to stick to that budget. I even show you all of the totals of everything at the end of the month and the end of the year of how much I spent. My number 1 tip is to reduce your food waste. I actually had a TED Talk on this. The average family in the United States is throwing away over 40% of the food that they're buying. I'm the author of the Zero Waste Produce Guide that goes through 75 produce items A to Z to teach you how to save money on groceries and to keep those produce items fresh for weeks. Here on the channel, we have hundreds of videos that are just dedicated to produce and teaching you how to keep it fresh longer. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure you start out with our strawberries in a jar video. The tips and tricks that I will teach you on this channel with keeping your produce fresh longer will not only keep them fresh longer, but they will also be clear of any pathogens like mold spores, E. coli, listeria. It's not just our produce that we're throwing away way too much. Oftentimes it's leftovers that we put in the refrigerator with no plans and just hopes that somebody is going to eat it. We have a Meals and Moments series here on the channel that I post a video to every 2 weeks, and we have been doing this for over a year now. I love this series because it shows you not only what we're making right after we go to the grocery store, but sometimes 2, 3, 4, even 5 weeks after we've been to the grocery store, I'm showing you fresh produce and new meal ideas to inspire you. I also show in these videos how I batch cook meals while I'm making dinner, and I'm able to pull out freezer meals for nights that I don't want to cook or just too busy. My second biggest tip is to start looking at the items that you are buying or wasting in your house, that you can buy something different that's similar and make it a more versatile item. One of the things that comes to mind here at our house is I rarely buy crunchy taco shells anymore. I realized that we weren't going through a whole package of taco shells at a time anymore since our kids were grown and they were getting stale. So now I normally buy tortillas that I can keep in the freezer and just pull a few out at a time that fits our family size. And I love that there's so many different ways that I can use tortillas compared to just the crunchy taco shells. So the tortillas can turn into breakfast burritos, they can turn into tacos, and oftentimes we are making wraps or quesadillas. I like also to keep ingredients on hand like fresh peppers that we can keep, that we can use for dips and breakfast and even adding into dinners. Or if I have too many or found them on sale, I can put them into the freezer and save them for later. One item that we have swapped out is we stopped buying sour cream and we just use Greek yogurt now. Greek yogurt we can use as sour cream, we can add it to recipes to thicken up the sauce. I love that we can also sweeten it to have it as a snack or put it into into smoothies. I also have many recipes here on the channel how I'm sneaking in extra protein into things like brownies using Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. Both of these items I get at Costco on my once a month grocery shopping haul, and when you store it in a glass jar with a metal lid, they are going to stay fresh 2 weeks past that best by date. So I know I have almost 2 months to make sure that I used up any cottage cheese or Greek yogurt I have. I have been buying the Kerrygold cheese. I just love it, and I love how versatile it is that we can use it multiple different ways, from snack trays to also our cheese fondue that we had for Valentine's Day. I love also being able to get a 5-pound block of cheddar cheese. This I divide up and I put some of it into the freezer so we can pull it out later, and it defrosts really easily. Instead of buying single serve cheeses that we hand out for snacks, we just use the cheddar cheese and make slices, or it shreds really nicely too. And again, storing it in a glass jar with a metal lid will keep it fresh longer. Think about some of those things that you're not using up quite all of the way before they're going bad, and seeing if there is another versatile item that you can be replacing it with. I recently did a video here on the channel talking about a $20 pork loin that I got from Costco, that I divided that up into pork chops, but I also made some pulled pork with that. The pulled pork I did not put any sauces on until after I go to reheat it. That way I was able to put it in the freezer in dinner size portions, and we can use that a couple different ways. Number 3 is to have some backup meal options. One thing I think is really important is to have some backup protein options in your house, whether or not they are pulled out of the freezer quickly or a can to open. So as I just mentioned in the versatile items, I think about meat products and being able to cook some ahead of time and divide it into portions to keep in the freezer. I love keeping things like cooked ground beef, cooked ground sausage, roast that are sliced up and ready to go, that are already cooked. We keep shredded chicken in 1 to 2 cup portions in the freezer, and that pulled pork that I was talking about. Those are all great things that will defrost really quickly, and you can mix with ingredients that you have in your house to whip up a quick meal. And I love that you can also use bean recipes to make a high protein meal in just 20 minutes or less. We have videos here on the channel talking about what I store in the freezer and how I batch cook meals. We will link some of those in the description. Tip number 4 is to stay away from the grocery store as much as possible. When we first started doing this, we were literally going to the grocery store every single day. We could see Costco and 3 grocery stores all within a half mile of our house. When we first started trying to stretch out going to the grocery store, it wasn't because of the budget concerns at the time. It was actually because we wanted to move to a very rural area, and we were practicing to see if we could go a couple days without going to the grocery store. That's been over 10 years now, and we went from going every day to a couple days to pushing it out a week, and then until payday. And now in the last year, we've even pushed it from going every 3 weeks to now once a month. And we have moved into that dream house that we wanted to move, that is in the rural area, that the grocery stores are 45 minutes away. So one of the things that I had learned during this time of trying to stretch out those grocery shopping trips is to make sure that my produce was lasting longer. We seem to go to the grocery store most often to get an avocado. And going in to get an avocado meant that you were also piquing your interest on some other things and walking out with a couple bags full of groceries. Now that I've learned that avocados and lemons stay fresh if they're stored together in the crisper drawer for over a month, I don't need to go to the grocery store so often. I love that I'm also able to pick what produce items will need to be used up quicker and which ones I can keep in my pantry or in my fridge and freezer for longer. We really try to make sure that we have the same ingredients in the house at all times. So if we go to use something that was a backup in the pantry, That is when we write it on the grocery shopping list when we're opening the backup, not when it's empty in the fridge. A good example for that is barbecue sauce. We don't want to run out. Tip number 5 is to start with the items you already have in your house that you need to use up, rotate, and build your shopping list around that. I do a seasonal inventory of my freezers to make sure that I haven't hidden too many bags of spinach in there or there are forgotten meals that need to be eaten. And plan the meals around the things in your pantry that need to be used up, and then buy the fresh items that you need to complete those meals. We also have a video up here on the channel that's brand new talking about how good past the best by date items are in your pantry. So it will walk you through different items like high acidity and low acidity, and if you can still eat it, how many years after that best by date. At the end of the day, saving money on groceries isn't about being perfect. It's about building small habits that accumulate over time to help you have an overall food security in your home. All of these things that I talk about in this video, I keep track of here in my grocery planner. I have done this for over 10 years now. I make sure that all of my grocery shopping lists are in the planner so I can go back and see trends on how often I'm buying things. I write down every single time I go to the grocery store so I can track that over the year also. And I honestly hate to meal plan at all. I like to have the ingredients in my house that I can use a multitude of different ways and be able to make a meal. And the best way that I have found that is after I make the meal, I write it down on my calendar, and then I'm able to go back and look through the past seasons to see meal inspirations of things that we have enjoyed as a family. I have a chronic illness that affects my energy levels and what I can do in a day. And so I never know if it's going to be a good day or a harder day, if I need to pull something out of the freezer that we can just warm up, or if I have more energy where I can actually make a meal. So I don't like to be in a set meal plan that is exactly what we have to eat for a week. And by following the tips here on the channel, you will be able to learn how to start building up a pantry and having food security for your family, so you don't have to worry so much if something happens in the world and the grocery store shelves are empty for a day or two. If you're new here, welcome to the Cross Legacy. We are called the Cross Legacy because our last name is Cross, and this is our family motto. Our zero waste produce guide, which goes through 75 fruits and vegetables to keep them fresh for weeks, and our meal planners are listed in the description with a discount code. And we have hundreds of videos here on the channel to teach you how to save money on groceries.